You pick up your phone before your eyes have fully adjusted to the light. You haven't spoken a word yet. You haven't eaten. You haven't even decided if you're awake. But already, your brain is processing dozens of social signals, threat assessments, and bursts of new information all before your feet touch the floor. This is a normal morning in the 21st century. But your brain doesn't know that. Your brain thinks it's still 300,000 years ago. And that gap between the world your brain was built for and the world you actually live in is quietly responsible for more exhaustion, anxiety, and confusion than almost anything else in modern life. So, what exactly happens when a 300,000-year-old brain meets a smartphone? Let's go back to the beginning. Your brain didn't appear overnight. It was shaped across hundreds of thousands of years of relentless pressure, survival pressure. Every circuit, every instinct, every default response you carry was optimized for one environment and one environment only. The African savanna, in small nomadic bands of 20 to 150 people, where the threats were physical, the rewards were immediate, and the social world was tiny enough to hold in your head. Neuroscientist and primatologist Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University has spent decades studying the biology of human stress. His work makes one thing devastatingly clear. Your stress system was never designed for chronic, low-level, invisible threats. It was designed for lions. A lion appears. Every system in your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones. You run, you fight, you survive. The lion leaves. The hormones clear. You rest. That's the system. Crisis, response, resolution, calm. But now imagine that lion never leaves. Imagine it sits in your pocket, buzzing every few minutes. That's your phone. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a physical threat and a social one. This is not a metaphor. It is literal neuroscience. The same amygdala, the almond-shaped structure deep in your brain that fires when you see a predator, fires when you see a message you haven't replied to yet. It fires when you see someone else's highlight reel on social media. It fires when a notification appears and you don't know what it says. Your body doesn't ask whether the threat is real. It reacts every time at full intensity. Now think about how many times that happens in a single day. A 2023 report by data firm Statista found that the average person checks their phone 6 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes. Each check is a microactivation of your threat detection system. Your cortisol spikes, your heart rate shifts, your focus fractures, and then you put the phone down and try to concentrate, but the hormones don't clear in 10 minutes. They linger. Your ancestors dealt with perhaps 2 or 3 genuine threats in a day. You deal with nearly 100. Now let's talk about attention, because this is where things get even stranger. Your brain has 2 primary attention systems. The first is directed attention, the kind you use when you deliberately focus on something hard, like reading or solving a problem. The second is involuntary attention, the kind that gets grabbed automatically by movement, novelty, contrast, or threat. The second system is ancient. It predates language. It predates tools. It is the system that kept your ancestors alive by making sure they could never fully ignore their environment. And your smartphone is a masterclass in triggering it. Every notification is movement. Every new post is novelty. Every red badge on an app is contrast. Your phone was not accidentally designed this way. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, has extensively documented how Silicon Valley engineers deliberately exploited these ancient circuits to maximize what the industry calls engagement, a polished word for compulsive return. The result is a machine perfectly tuned to hijack the involuntary attention system of a prehistoric brain. And every time that system gets hijacked, your directed attention, the slow, effortful, deep kind, gets a little more depleted. This is why you can stare at a task for an hour and feel like you've accomplished almost nothing. Your ancient brain kept pulling your focus toward the horizon, scanning for threats that never materialized but never fully disappeared either. But the smartphone problem runs deeper than attention. It goes all the way down to one of the most fundamental human needs, social belonging. For your ancestors, being excluded from the group was a death sentence. There were no lone survivors on the Pleistocene savanna, the geological epoch stretching from about 2.5 million years ago to 12,000 years ago, when your behavioral anatomy was largely set. If your tribe cast you out, you died. Alone, at night, without fire or numbers, you became prey within days. This is why your brain treats social rejection with the same neural machinery it uses to process physical pain. Psychologist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran a landmark study in 2003 using brain scans to show that being excluded from a simple ball tossing game, a meaningless digital simulation, activated the same regions of the brain as a broken bone. Social pain and physical pain share the same circuits. Your brain cannot tell the difference between being left out of a hunt and being left out of a group chat. Now consider what social media is. It is a real-time, publicly visible ledger of social approval. Every like is a small signal of acceptance. Every scroll past without a reaction is a small signal of invisibility. Every post that underperforms is a data point your ancient brain files under. Warning, low status, possible threat of exclusion. You are not imagining the anxiety. It is your prehistoric belonging system, firing on a platform it was never built to navigate. Let's reconstruct a scene. Imagine your ancestor, a woman, let's say, living in East Africa roughly 70,000 years ago. She wakes before dawn. Her social world consists of around 40 people. She knows all of them. She knows their faces, their moods, their loyalties. She knows who to trust and who to watch. Her brain holds the entire social map of her world simultaneously. And it does so effortlessly because it was built for exactly that size. Now imagine her waking up today. Her phone contains 847 followers, 312 Facebook friends, and a group chat with 23 people who all have opinions about dinner. She checks the news and encounters 40 strangers expressing rage about something that happened in a country she's never visited. She opens her email and finds 17 messages from people she barely knows, all requiring responses. Her brain, identical in structure to yours, begins to break. Not because she is weak, because no brain, however brilliant, was ever designed to hold 847 social relationships simultaneously. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University identified through decades of cross-cultural research that humans have a natural cognitive limit of roughly 150 meaningful social relationships, a number now known as Dunbar's number. Beyond that, the system starts to strain. The social signals become noise. The noise becomes stress. The average Instagram user follows 500 accounts. Many follow thousands. Every one of those accounts is a social entity your ancient brain tries, automatically and unconsciously, to track. And then there is sleep. Your brain produces melatonin, the hormone that signals the body to sleep in response to darkness. For 300,000 years, darkness meant fire and stars. The light was warm, orange, dim. Melanopsin, the photoreceptor in your eye most sensitive to light, barely registered it. Smartphone screens emit primarily blue spectrum light. Blue light is the precise wavelength most effective at suppressing melatonin production. A 2014 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, led by Anne-Marie Chang at Harvard, found that reading on a light-emitting screen before bed delayed melatonin onset by 90 minutes, pushed back the body's internal clock, and left participants significantly more groggy the following morning, even after a full night's sleep. Your brain interprets the screen as noon sunlight. It refuses to sleep. You lie there, exhausted, overstimulated, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are working exactly as designed. The problem is the mismatch. Evolutionary biologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard calls this phenomenon mismatch disease, the idea that many of the chronic conditions plaguing modern humans are not failures of biology, but failures of fit. Your body and brain evolved for one world. You are living in another. And the seams show up as anxiety, insomnia, distraction, loneliness, inflammation, and a low, persistent sense that something is wrong that you cannot quite name. The ancient brain does not know it has been displaced. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. It is scanning for threats in a world where threats never stop arriving. It is seeking belonging in a social space too large to process. It is waiting for darkness that the screen never delivers. So what do you do with this? The answer isn't to destroy your phone. The answer is to understand what is happening and make deliberate choices with that understanding. Scheduled phone-free time in the morning is not a lifestyle trend. It is a neurological reset. A walk outside in natural light is not just exercise. It is recalibrating a circadian system built for the outdoors. Keeping your social media following small and genuinely meaningful is not antisocial. It is working with Dunbar's number instead of against it. Your brain is not broken. It is ancient, and ancient things require ancient conditions to function at their best. You pick up your phone before your eyes have fully adjusted to the light. You haven't spoken a word yet. You haven't eaten. You haven't even decided if you're awake. Now you know exactly what is happening inside you when you do.